Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Camppatton Family Compound. It is time for Friday night on the Homestead, and tonight's topic is coping with weeds. And how's everybody doing out there? Let me get over here and hit the comments here, and so let's see who all's in here. Well, first off, quite a while ago, almost an hour ago, Prepper Girl 101 came in, and let's see, then Crew 1351, and Geeky Gardens, Shady Hill Homestead. Everybody's saying hi to each other. And, oh, interesting. YouTube must be screwing up because I see a lot more names up above here than there is in here right now. Shit. Yeah, let me switch to a different hat. This one here, it has a slight tinge of yellow in it, so it for some reason it activates the green screen with a little yellow in there. There we go. Whew, it is hot and humid here. We're at 50% humidity in this room here, 62 in the staff sergeant's office, and 59 in the boys' room, but they got the little swamp cooler thing in there, which hopefully it got turned off this morning. I think it got turned off when the power went off. It automatically shut it off. So, alrighty. So, for those that weren't in the live stream last night on Gray Man Prepping, yesterday I stopped by the Mercantile Distilleries in Shelley, Idaho, and they had 30 275-gallon IBC totes sitting out back. And I was talking to the guy, in charge of that, of taking care of selling those off. And he goes, "Oh, the more you buy, the lower the price goes. How many were you thinking about getting?" You said 8. I said 8 or 10, depending what what the price is. Well, I can give them to you at $50. I go, I'll definitely take 10. He goes, we got 30 of them out there. If you want, you can buy them all, and we don't mind if you go ahead and sell them. Make a little profit for yourself, but get them off our hands. I wound up taking all 30 of them. When I took all 30 of them, I said I was going to take all 30 of them. I took 2 loads of 5 home last night. Smart loading up the trailer, and it's so much of a pain trying to get that 5th one out of the truck. And so I was just doing the 4 in the trailer. And I made I was back there loading up on my 3rd load when the guy came out, and he goes, "Yeah. Oh, by the way," and he handed me some money back. The boss said that since you're taking them all, we're going to give them to you at $40 a pop. Yeah, so I got all 30 of them at $40 each, and they make great raised planter beds, which is great for tonight's topic. So let me got some questions here for it. So looking at it this way, so for how do you guys deal with weeds in your garden or in your lawn? Now, I know that some of these here are going to be, I want to put it, have multiple different ends of the spectrum answers. So around here, some areas, the weeds get burnt off. The irrigation ditches, back in April when they're all when the snows has melted and got in between storms, they get out there the end of March into April, and people start burning the irrigation ditches, all the weeds out of the irrigation ditch. Generally, since if everyone burns their ditch, it gets rid of all the seeds of the come on, brain, the cattails and some of the other things. And the only thing that comes up then afterwards is just like alfalfa grass, you know. But seeing how mine's all in pipe except for the pumping stations, I don't have to burn mine. But some of them burn it, and some of them for their gardens. You know, the residents in towns that have gardens, they collect all the leaves and stuff up and put it over their gardens in the fall. And what it hasn't melted, it's melted with the snow on it, decomposed, started falling apart. And if there's anything dry, crunchy in there, they go ahead and burn that, and then turn that carbon into the garden. The numbers are finally coming back up, so maybe the AI for is actually starting to count you guys watching. My grandsons have been helping me out, working out in the garden all day yesterday and today, and they are thirsty too. Right now it's 83 inside here. It was supposed to get a lot hotter, but we had a rainstorm roll in last night, and I mean it was a lightning strike nearby, because I mean it's like I was suddenly very wide awake for it, and there wasn't no rumbling of it coming out. It was nearby. It was like a shotgun gunshot going off right outside the house, and it was just really loud. The house shook a little bit. Power stayed on. During my trips leaving this morning at 6 o'clock with the first one, I noticed that Rocky Mountain Power had their truck out working on some of the poles on the south end of town. I was heading north. And as when I came back, they had moved up a pole, unloaded the IBC totes, took off again. They had moved up a pole. Came back down with another. They had moved up a pole and moved across the street. And I'm looking at him, and about 8:30, so I started getting my trip at 6. Actually, I got up there at 6. Let me check what my daughter said here. She put the time in here. 8:28. Power is out. So, I was probably up there picking up load 3 when the power went out, and I came back. I hadn't come in the house. So I'm just pulling out, emptying the stuff out, getting back in, going up. And yeah, it was. Kaylin's here. 90 the air quality is back in the green from orange. Lucky. So the power was out. We don't know why the power was out. We knew from talking from the city council meeting and talking to, there was a guy from Rocky Mountain Power there, and one of the council members told him, hey, we got a couple of them here that need poles need to be replaced. The one you can actually see through the middle of it. And he goes, give us the numbers and we'll get a crew out here on it. And that's what I figured was happening. You got the crew out here to work on that, but it could have been that lightning strike was on the south end of town, and they were trying to fix stuff, and then having to turn the whole town off to actually before they could reconnect stuff and make sure it was all taken care of. So burning is a popular thing around here because a lot of people don't like to spray too much stuff, especially with all the information coming out about Roundup and the other ones like that, and how they are very bad for you. But there are some other ones which are more natural sprays that you can use out there. The one I haven't been able to find anything listed bad about it, which some people use. I would say about probably near the beginning of June to mid-June. Fertilome weed control. and it is not, it doesn't have the glyphosate in it, doesn't have the other things in it. Still can't find out exactly the stuff that does have in it is bad, but generally they spray it 1 or 2 weekends, or in June, and then in fall when stuff starts to pop up again, they spray it again because it takes care of the star thistle, clover in your lawn. And this is just for lawn. You don't spray this in gardens, but getting the weeds out of the lawn, the star thistle, the clover, dandelions, morning glory, and a couple of other broadleaf funky ones with these weird puffball seeds that are about that big around that blow all over everywhere. But what I found out, what I've been using, I've been doing spraying, but I've been spraying. I take 30%. No, sorry. I start out with 45% vinegar, and I dilute it down to about 30% for the stubborn stuff, and I dilute it down to 22.5% for the rest of the stuff I need to get rid of. And for like morning glory, star thistle, and that creepy puffball stuff, 22.5 takes care of that. But to get rid of the Russian broom and tumbleweed, I got to have it up at 30% to make sure it kills it. So that's one of the things I do. It's been a fight going on because of our weather this year was really bad. Our weather, well, when I say really bad, it wasn't like normal. You have, all right, everything is cold and freezing. No lawns, no grass is sprouting, no weeds are sprouting until mid or the end of May. We had weeds and we had lawns coming back in, the end of April 1st. I mean, the end of March, 1st of April. All right, 6 to 8 weeks early. And then, go out there, try to treat it, get ready to go out. Oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going to start spraying some of the stuff around. It rains. And there's another plant we have that I do it on. I've known it as pigweed even in California from the time I was a little squirt. And I haven't been able to find out exactly what its true name is. And other people kind of refer to it as different things. So we just kind of refer to it that way. It's not its true name, but we just kind of refer to it. So, but yeah. So, and that stuff's coming up now. I found several patches where it's already starting to go to blossom and seed. So I had to get out there today and spray the vinegar on it. And it fries that stuff pretty good. Now, so yeah, there are natural sprays like vinegar and some other ones that you can use that'll take care of the weeds. The one thing I don't have up on here, I'm going to mention it right now because I'll forget it otherwise. If you have goat heads plants usually are in dry areas like in driveways and stuff where you don't spray a lot of water. My wife found out that if you irrigate that area well, have these sprinklers going on it, 2-3 times a week, it's too wet for it to survive, and it gets root rot, I guess, and so the goat heads plants go away. So there are right now some of the areas where the goat heads are starting to intrude on the lawn. I've been watering it, so much that they've stopped growing into the lawn, but the morning glory loves it, so it's encroaching on the lawn. The star thistle is encroaching on the lawn big time because the Indian Canal never does it, and it blows all the seeds over into the lawn area. So I got to go out and spot spray. Hopefully, let me see here. Take a quick look. The weather pattern here. Tomorrow it's sunny. We have rainstorms tonight, thunderstorms tonight, until 1 o'clock in the morning. Then it starts to the clouds start to go away. So I should be able to go out tomorrow and go around and spot spray each of those star thistle things. And what I usually do is to kind of I'll mow it first and get it down to a short height, and I'll just go along and spray right on the center core of it, and everything just goes in a couple hours and it's dead. But yes, vinegar spray is a great spray for certain weeds. Now you got to be careful about overspray. So you don't want to be spraying it when the wind's blowing, or like as with most sprays. So usually if I'm working there, anything ornamental, I want to make sure I don't spray. I will try to use a big green leaf rake and pull it back, like the peppermint or spearmint. I'll pull it back from the stuff I want to spray, and I only put a couple pumps into it, so it's just kind of spittling out the spray instead of giving a hard spray on it. And that way I can get hit each one down at its base, and without the extra spray going over onto the stuff I want to save, whether it's the peppermint or the lemon balm or something like that. The my raised IBC tote beds, where I've got it up high and stuff and filled with it. The ones along the driveway are where I'm always going out, and the grandkids are always going out. That one gets kept clean. Those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those 11 planters get kept clean of weeds fairly quickly, because if I don't spot it, Danny and Oliver spot the weeds, and they say, Grandpa, is this a weed or a plant? And so I immediately go out there and pluck it. Also tomorrow we're supposed to be hitting the new front garden area, because the weeds that are coming up there are getting now about, especially the Russian broom, are getting about that tall, so it's easy to grab, and the soil is so moist in what soil there is in amongst all those wood chips, that it's not like elsewhere where it's packed soil. This was rototilled very, very extensively as I was putting the compost in, the wood chips and the soil and stuff, mixing it up. And I was out there yesterday, and I was like, oh wow! And I started the big ones. I started pulling them. I was like, dang. Okay, I thought we were gonna hit it this morning till the rain. It was raining this morning. And yes, it was raining on me while I was getting the IBC totes this morning. In some of the areas I put down in around the shop by the orchard, I put down some weed blockers, some heavy duty stuff. There's some videos on it, and I talked about what it is. I got a 6-foot roll of this heavy duty stuff that's got tight weave on top, and then another weave on the bottom of stuff, so it kind of grabs onto the soil and hangs onto the soil. But I still had to use either the 9-inch nails or the double use the U-shaped staples to hold it in place. But I put wood chips on top of it. Figured, okay. Now this year this spring I discovered, all right, that ain't gonna work at all. My wife was here. She goes, yeah, this stuff just rooted. The seeds started in the wood above the weed blocker, and so the root just dug through and found a gap in the weed, where the weed blocker is, and went through that little crack and just spread it. The weeds from below didn't come up through it, because basically they're pushing a leaf up, and the leaf is way too big to go through the weave of the fabric, but the root can go down through the weave of the fabric. So we're going to be in the process of removing the wood chips off of it, and just leave that weed blocker out there in the pathways. We may put stepping stones on it, but Yeah, it's one of those ones that's it's the weed blocker we're using states that it allows oxygen to get through. So any worms underneath the soil get oxygen, so that you're not killing them like you would be if you're laying black or clear visqueen plastic down and putting decorative bark on it. Of course, that's an idea. Didn't think about that. With the area that we want to keep the stuff from going through, if we, I'm not too worried about the worms under it because it's right up against the shop, and there's not that not much there for the worms. If I put if I go ahead and pull everything up out of there, put visqueen down, and then put the weed blocker fabric down on top, which would then protect the delicate visqueen from you walk on it, because the other stuff you can walk on it all day long. And I had in the one area, it's part of the walkway there, and I never got the wood chips on it, and it's holding up just fine. So I may wind up doing that. So even if stuff gets onto it and tries to send a root through it, it's going to hit the visqueen, not go anywhere, and it's going to die. Some weeds in the lawn this year, I did not spray anything to take out the dandelions, and we had a boatload of dandelions come up. Interesting about dandelions, they'll bring up they love calcium deprived soil, and they have deep roots that go down. You pull a dandelion, you see this root, and you see this little spindly taproot goes down, and it breaks off right away. Well, that taproot goes down, 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 and breaks really easy when you pull it, but it brings up all sorts of calcium up to the upper layers. And when the upper layers has good calcium in it, the dandelions stop growing so much. And so when the dandelions came up, we had one batch come up, blossom, no bees out yet, so no bees to pollinate, died off, or at least the flowers and stuff all died off. Then it got snowed on. Then after the snow melted, the greens were still there, and they sent up things again. And finally, some started blossoming, and we got first time they blossomed, they're I don't think it was the bees. I think it was the some of the flies and gnats and stuff that were pollinating. And then those we got more snow, and it down again. It came up a third time in May, and the bees came out to it, and it had bees pollinating it and stuff. And all of a sudden it took off even more. Dandelions started coming up. Bees were out there having a grand time. Then all of a sudden the dandelions just disappeared. And I'm like, okay, I expected dandelions going on to midsummer, but I guess they brought up enough calcium that it's like, okay, we did our job, and they just went away. But I do expect to see the dandelions back next year, because even when I put calcium out there in gypsum and some other form where you just add the pellets out there and it breaks down high-speed activated gypsum and calcium to get absorbed. Yeah, when I put that stuff out, the dandelions wouldn't come out. But then later in the fall, dandelions will come out, because that stuff had watered into the ground so much and watered down that there wasn't a good layer of calcium up above. So the weeds, and so calling dandelions weeds, some people see them as weeds. That's only because they don't know the advantages of it. My grandmother and her mother never taught my mom about what things, the benefits of dandelion tea and stuff like that. Throws. So my mom just she didn't like the dandelions growing in her dichondra lawn we had down in Southern California. So it's always been a war against dandelions. So some of you out there, Tammy McNeil, Rebel Canners, Corky at White Family Farm, and some others informed me about, oh, dandelions are not the enemy. And then I mentioned it to my wife, and she goes, huh? And she started doing some research. Oh, yeah, I found out that dandelions are usually the first flowers for bees waking up. So we don't spray the dandelions anymore. We just spray the star thistle, morning glory, and Russian bloom. And when I get oversprayed on the lawn, the grass starts to die a little bit, but you can see it doesn't go all the way down to the grass to its root. And you still see it's green down there. And about a week, it's right back again. But the other things are dead and gone. And that's just using vinegar. So. Either maybe too much calcium or I don't know. I know I've heard that dandelions bring up calcium. When they bring up calcium, they kind of go away. It may have been that there are other things that affecting the dandelions as well. Kaylin. So, there are certain weeds that like a little bit of the natural sugars in the soil, but when you build up a lot of natural sugars that other plants really love, the weeds don't like it. And 3 of the IBC totes I got from the distillery were for the glycerin, which is the basically sugar syrup they use in making the hard lemonades and stuff they make up at the distillery. So those I'm gonna rinse those out, save the water, and put that into the garden area to help, especially around the orchards, so to help the trees, because they really love the natural that type of sugar being put into it. And it's a lot cheaper when they leave an inch or two of sugar in the bottom that they don't suck out from the top with their hose. It's great because then I can put it out there, and it'll help the garden there for that. And bringing the sugar levels up in the garden area especially around the trees, hopefully certain of the weeds will go, oh, it's too sweet here for us. It's just not our ideal growing stuff. And that's the thing with weeds. Weeds will tell you what your soil is lacking. You can do about it. There are a bunch of videos. If Mark was here, he'd be talking about it too. I just lost it. Look, Soil Works LLC puts out a lot of videos on it and talks about natural soil pH and sugar and carbon and the other things in the soil that helps the soil grow and help plants grow, the beneficial plants. But plus no sign. Oh yeah, I can. Well, actually, on the orchard near the house side, it doesn't get sun till a bit later. But my dandelions are coming up even there in the shade for a month or two before they get full sun. Granted, they're not as big and as healthy as the others, but they still put out blossoms and stuff. I can't. Thing would be if you talk if you can talk to the landscape contractor and find out what exactly the chemicals he's spraying is, you may be able to talk to the the property management company or the manager of the apartment complex, and get them to change. If they're spraying some nasty stuff there, get them to change it to some of the other stuff, and that way you guys may be able to plant other things in there that are, that are pretty and nice and, helpful. Let's see here. Now, pre-emergents are they're a double-edged sword. There's pre-emergents like excuse me, like preen and lily. I forget what it is. Lily something or other has one that's supposed to be even safer than preen. The thing is, you're still putting, for some of these, you're putting adverse chemicals still down into the soil. Whereas it might be okay if you're out on, like if you have what roads around here we have, from our property line to the roads is about 12 feet wide, and we get all sorts of stuff growing in there, and putting some pre-emergent on that wouldn't be the worst thing, so long as it doesn't get past the lawn into the garden. Because basically it does something with the seeds and keeps the seeds from hatching, or not hatching, but hatching. But it's sprouting. There's the word I want. Oh, dandelions do well there though. Okay. Yeah, pigweed is one that's got this little scallopy shaped leaves that kind of like three big ones that are scalloped on each one, but they're not three separate ones. They just kind of, it goes around, goes in a little bit, and lifts a little bit in. And even when they're little, they have, the plant's this big and it's got a 12-inch root on it. Yeah. You may get stuff where you get chemical mixing where it's like A plus B equals D, E, and G. Because they may put several safe chemicals down, but the combination of safe chemicals interact and become an unsafe chemical. The one of the things I do is I have one of those big I have a 30-pound propane tank and one of those big 5-foot long handled burner flamethrower type ones, and sometimes I'll get out there in the areas that's not getting hit by water, and the goat heads start coming up. I'll just go along and I'll go out there and give it a quick light spraying with the vinegar, and then I'll come around, and as the stuff starting to dry up before it can sprout back up again, I'll go through and I'll burn all the seeds and the everything else off of there, and then I can see easily that where I need to or I may need to turn a sprinkler up a little bit higher so more water gets out there, and then I'll toss out some Kentucky bluegrass seed, and hopefully and rake some of that in, so maybe get some grass going. Some areas I've gotten some grass to grow. Other areas it's kind of like the soil is basically 12 inches of riverbed gravel, cobbles and stuff, and only the nastiest weeds grow there. But those are the kind of things I came up with for blocking. What do you guys have out there that you do use or do to block or to deal with the the weeds in your gardens or in your lawns? I would say that Kaylin has a little bit easier job of getting the weeds out of her her potted plants and stuff. Much along the line, I can get it easily out of my raised planter beds. The other thing neat about the raised planter beds, because we've been putting so much biomass and compost into it, that even when the planters goes without watering, and first thing in the spring, you got weeds growing up, and I'm not watering it, and they're still barely eking by. When we go out there and pull them up, the soil in there is loose and loamy. It's not caking down hard, and that helps get any seeds that had blown on there and sprouted. Gets it easy for us to yank them out and toss them. All right. I guess nobody feels like chatting much there in the side chat. Yeah, I'm looking to see if there are certain plants that'll that make conditions adverse for morning glory. If I can find something that is not worse than morning glory, but is nice and not invasive like morning glory is, but it's a morning glory. It makes it a morning glory goes, oh, I don't want to grow over there by that plant. I'm going to try to grow someplace else. I may be planting a lot of different plants and stuff around the perimeter, just to keep the morning glory out of the lawn. Problem is, there are different varieties of morning glory. The morning glory, at least one or two of the varieties we have here, have some deep roots. I mean, really deep, 15, 20 feet deep. They go down looking for their whatever else they need. And then they just start going across, and they drop more roots down, and then more finger vines go out and drop more down. You get seeds blown onto your deck from the trees. Yeah. The cottonwood trees that are still here in town, the wind was and we've had some 80-mile-an-hour gust winds going on here, and it blew seeds from a block and a half away over to the area where I was putting working and rototilling in the wood chips into the front garden. And I was out there yesterday, and I spotted several cottonwood seedlings out there in it, getting ready to grow up, and so those are going to get plucked out tomorrow. We do not need any more cottonwood trees growing over here. I got Lombardy poplars that I've planted in a specific way for a windbreak, and I got like 8 blue spruce Christmas trees out there, and we may wind up next spring getting some more of them. I'm not gonna make that call on my own. I'm gonna wait until the staff sergeant come up. She's last time I talked to her Saturday, she says it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks before she can get up here again, dealing with her mother's health issues and stuff, and getting her back to where she can get around on her own and not need to worry about someone having a caretaker there with her, 24/7. Because right now my wife is staying down there at her house, but taking care of all her garden stuff down there. But when they do, when the church sends somebody over in the afternoons to help out, that's when my wife goes, okay, I'm heading home for a couple hours to take care of my garden. Let's see. All right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this up here now and get this other thing up here for you. All right. So tomorrow on Gray Man Prepping, that's Gray with an A. The topic for Survival Saturday is after all the women vanish, what are your plans? And if you're new here, last week was after all the men vanish. So now we're going to get the opposite side reaction. Monday here on Camppatton Family Compound with Tammy at Rebel Canners and Mark at Chef Tech. The topic's going to be cooking in cast iron. Tuesday on Gray Man Prepping is 13 years of Gray Man Prepping. And I'm going to talk about how it started and some of the stuff, things we've done, and just the history of the channel and the videos that I've been showing over there on Gray Man Prepping. Thursday night is the midnight ride on Gray Man Prepping at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 10 p.m. Eastern Time, which is about the time the midnight ride actually started. It actually started more like 9:30. Next Friday here on Camppatton Family Compound is homeschooling an option for you. And there is I'll just give you a little hint on it. There is a big push in certain states to make, if people are taking their kids out to homeschool them, the schools, instead of still getting that money for those kids, needs to give that money back to the parent, give money, what they have allocated for each student, to the students that are being homeschooled in their district. So the parents can have an easier time homeschooling. We'll see what happens. Yep, you're going away, Kaylin. All right, everyone. So that's what's coming up, and take care, stay safe, and if you're spraying weeds, try to spray something that's healthy and not going to contaminate everything. And I know for some people, bending over is getting harder and harder to do. That's where grandkids come in handy. All right, everyone, take care, and we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see you tomorrow on Gray Man Prepping. Take care.